Welcome back to SG Kamat Reviews, and today we have a Mazda CX-8. Now if you're feeling confused, this sits between the Mazda CX-5 and the CX-9 SUVs. You can have this in either 6 or 7 seat configurations, which makes it a 6-seat SUV or a 7-seat SUV if you prefer. Now if you're still feeling confused, it just means that you have to stick around and watch a little bit more. You just cannot go wrong with Mazdas nowadays. They all look very good, and the CX-8 is no exception. Up front, it shares a lot of similarities to the rest of the Mazda range, but if you look carefully at the badge, it looks a little bit different because it's hiding a lot of safety assistance tech behind that badge. Now the main difference with the Mazda CX-8 is when you come to the side, it is indeed much longer than the cars that you're used to from Mazda. It does look very good from here. I think that is one of the unique looks that the CX-8 has. Now, let's talk about the boot. This is now, in this spec, a 6-seater SUV, so boot space isn't that spectacular. It comes at about 209 liters of boot space. Actually, it's not too bad, but still, you have to fold the seats if you want more space. The trolley, of course, will go in sideways, but that's pretty much it. But if you fold it, just like that, you can slide the anti-trolley all the way to the back. And also, if you want to put a luggage bag, you can. And this, by the way, is just with one seat folded. You can actually fit a luggage bag right there. And also an anti-trolley if you want to. It works out quite well. Now if you fold both seats, you will get over 700 liters of space. It works out quite well over here. So let's talk about the rear seats, 2 rows. The Mazda CX-8 is priced from $165,888 to $172,888. The 2.5 litre engine produces 192 brake horsepower and 258 Newton meters of torque. The 6-speed transmission brings the car from 0 to 100 km per hour in 10.7 seconds. For more details on the Mazda CX-8 or any other car, head on to sgkamat.com to help you make the smart choice on your next car. Now, third row of seats. I am just under 1.8 meters tall, and as you can tell, there's not a lot of room. Headroom is not that great, especially for someone like me. It comes very close, and of course, the front seat is set to a comfortable seating position up front for someone like me. But the thing is, you still can adjust the seat a little bit forward, so you have a bit more space. When you do this, it's actually not too bad. It works out for adults, but to be honest, it's best for kids in the rear, like most, if not all, SUVs, 6 or 7-seater SUVs. One thing to note though is that it does come with a bit of amenities. You do have air conditioning vents in the second row, which actually can reach to the third row. Not too shabby, partly because this is a 6-seater and you have this passageway over here, so the air still gets circulated all the way to the back. And surprisingly, you do get USB charging ports on the left and right. Cup holders. It's actually not too bad at the back over here. It doesn't feel claustrophobic. So let's get to the second row. 6-seater means you can walk through from the middle. You have to bend down a bit, but it actually works out quite easy. Don't need much help. It can be done. Now, I didn't adjust the seat just now, or rather I adjusted it so that I have a bit more space on the third row. And as you can tell, an adult will sit here just fine. So actually, if you really need to put adults at the back and they need more space, you can work it out over here. It's not going to be terrible for the second row or the third row. Everyone should be quite fine. But if nobody is sitting at the back, you can slide the seat all the way back. And as you can tell, there is significant amount of knee room and wiggle room. Headroom comes a bit close, but it does fine. There are quite a bit of amenities at the back. You do have air conditioning vents like I mentioned, and as you notice, you can adjust the fan speed and temperature. You do have climate control at the back. You do have these blinds manual blinds if you really need them, and of course USB ports, ISOFIX points for your kids. I really wish that they actually put ISOFIX points at the back, but it doesn't really matter. It works out quite well at the back here. You have that Mazda feel, a luxurious feel over here for sure. It works very well, and I can see myself sitting here for hours on end on a road trip. Works out quite well. Front seats. Up front, it is what you expect from Mazda. It is good stuff. A lot of soft touch materials, nice and expensive feeling aluminum inserts, carbon fiber. Not really a fan, but it works out. In all, very premium, very luxurious feeling interior. But I've mentioned this before, Mazda makes interiors which are really meant for people who spend a lot of time on the road, and here it works out very well. All the stuff that I mentioned before, for example, these digital instrument cluster which looks like it's analog, the head-up display which is not confusing to understand. In all, a very usable space. I do like that Mazda has not removed a lot of buttons, so you do have a lot of buttons to control your infotainment system, which is of course not the new ones you see in the Mazda 3 or the CX-30, but it works very well. And if you're spending a lot of time on the road, you want something that is easy to use. You don't have to second guess when you're using Mazda's infotainment system. And it's the same for air conditioning controls. Actual buttons to control your fan and temperature, and also a button just to turn off your rear air conditioning. That is incredibly useful because for many cars, you can't control the rear. You might be able to control, let's say, the temperature at the rear, but you can't turn it off completely. You have to reach out sometimes and turn it off like that, or dive through menus to do it. This is very simple. And here, because this car has quite a bit of safety assistance tech, you can turn off, for example, your lane keep assist with just a button over here, or turn off your start stop with just a button again. This works out very well. And also one more button. One button just to see what's going on around the car. You have a 360-degree camera view around the car. Works out very well. Now, last but not least, ventilated seats. Very good. Really, really good. Oh, you can hear it coming in. Ah, now we can go for the drive. I am very happy to find myself in a Mazda once again, and this CX-8 is pretty good. It shares all the good stuff, all the things that you expect from a Mazda nowadays. And for a driver, it definitely gives you a very premium feel behind the wheel. It's not just the soft touch materials, it's also how easy it is to change certain settings because there are buttons all in the right places, and of course the ride quality. Now, the ride quality here is pretty good. Some people have mentioned that Mazdas tend to ride a little bit harshly, but this doesn't. This actually is quite nice. I believe partly because of the fact that the CX-8 is quite long. So you have very long wheelbase. That helps in terms of ride quality. Now, the other thing which adds to the driving experience is of course ease of driving, and I mentioned this quite a lot. Here it is very easy to drive. This car is a big car, mind you. It is not small, but it feels easy. It doesn't feel very overwhelming when you're behind the wheel. Here it feels like a CX-5. In fact, it actually can feel like a Mazda 3 even, partly because you do have very big wing mirrors and a very good view up ahead as well as behind you. And adding on to that experience, that ease of driving, is that it does come with a suite of safety assistance features. Now there's quite a bit here. You do have blind spot monitoring, which you see in many cars nowadays, and of course you can see the blind spot warning in the head-up display as well as on the mirrors here. Now it's starting to rain, and that's very good to have all these kind of safety assistance features because we can see if it works or not, and clearly right now it is working quite well. The other thing also is that it does come with adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist. All these systems work very well together. They do not fight and shout at you when you do something wrong. Like in the Mazda here, it will just pull you back quite gently, and if there's someone in your blind spot and you start signaling, it will just beep quite gently also. It adds overall to the experience. And of course, the Bose sound system is quite tremendous, but like I mentioned, I cannot let you hear. You have to hear it yourself. It's actually quite good, partly because of the cabin materials that I used in the car and how refined and quiet it is. The sound system works very, very well. Let us talk about power. CX-8 is powered by a 2.5 liter inline 4 naturally aspirated engine, and let's see how fast it goes. It isn't very quick, mind you. This is not a performance car, but aside from that, it is a very smooth operator. The engine works very well with the 6-speed gearbox, so in all, it is a very smooth power delivery. So it's the Mazda CX-8. Will buy, a won't buy, or a go try? For me, it is a go try, because the Mazda CX-8 has a lot of things on offer. It does have a lot of features here. You do have blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, and pretty much a suite of safety assistance features like I mentioned earlier. But what I especially like about the CX-8 is that you can get it as a 6-seater. Some of you might be thinking, I don't need 6 seats, you only need 4. It works very well as a 4-seater also. In fact, this is probably the unique point of the CX-8. 4 people will be very comfortable in this car, I can guarantee you that. And it looks quite good, like you expect Mazdas to be. We've come to the end of our review of the Mazda CX-8. What do you guys think? Of course, if you have some thoughts, don't forget to put your thoughts in the comment box down below. And if you want to see more stuff, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to SG Car Mart. And I will see you guys next time. Till then, goodbye.